Hello, students. Welcome to the third part of the chapter Money and Credit. In second video, we studied mainly about loan and terms of credit or loan. We have studied about collateral as well as the basic ways of taking loan from banks, from money lenders, and cooperatives. In this video, that is going to be the last part, we'll study formal sector credit in India. Formal sector credit, formal sector. Before proceeding, you must understand what is formal sector credit. Formal. Formal word means official. Simply formal means official. So formal sector credit where there are banks, cooperatives, that is known as formal sector credit. If anyone takes loan from formal sector, that means taking the loan from banks or cooperative. There is another one, informal. What comes under informal? Under informal comes our friends, relatives, money lenders, and so on. So these are sources of informal credit. We'll further talk about it. The various types of loans can be conveniently grouped as formal sector loans and informal sectors loan. As I have told you, formal sector banks and cooperatives, while informal friends, relatives, and money lenders. Among the former are loans from banks and cooperatives. The informal lenders include money lenders, traders, employers, relatives, and friends, etc. Before proceeding, have a look at the graph. This graph shows sources of credit per rupees 1000 of rural households in India in 2012. You can see here government only 1%, other non institutional agencies only 2%, relative and friends 8%, money lenders 33%, cooperatives only 25%. Here it is 33, and commercial banks, that is 25%. So in this way you can notice 50% loan in rural areas is given by formal sector and remaining 50% by informal sector, nearly remaining 50%. Some others are also there, landlords 1%, other institutional agencies 5%. But basically cooperative formal sector provides loan approx 50% in the year 2012. The Reserve Bank of India supports and supervises the functioning of formal sources of loans. For instance, we have seen that the banks maintain a minimum cash balance out of the deposits they receive. If you remember, only 15% amount they keep with them in the bank. The RBI monitors the bank in actually maintaining cash balance. Who monitors? RBI, Reserve Bank of India. The RBI sees that the banks give loans not just to profit making businesses. It is under the supervision of RBI, Reserve Bank of India, that the banks give loans not just to profit making businesses and traders but also to small cultivators, small scale industries, to small borrowers, etc. Periodically, banks have to submit information to the RBI on how much they are lending, to whom, at what interest rate, etc. So, every report related to loan must be forwarded by the bank to RBI. There is no organization which supervises the credit activities of lenders in the informal sector. What is the most important difference? What is the main difference? For formal sector, there is a supervisor. Who is the supervisor? Reserve Bank of India. But for informal sector, there is no supervisor. Now, in the picture you can see, but why should a bank wants us to have a higher income? If you remember in last lecture we studied, banks ask collateral for providing loan. So that is why this farmer ask a question. But why should a bank want us to have a higher income? Because banks provide loans to those who have collateral. Compared to the formal lenders, most of the informal lenders charge a much higher interest on loans. We have studied, we have already discussed in last video. Bank charge 10 to 15% maximum. In credit card situations, up to 40%. But money lenders charge up to 5% per month, that ultimately goes to 60% per annum. Higher cost of borrowing means a larger part of the earning of the borrower is used to repay the loan. More rate of interest, more payment. In certain cases, the high interest rate of borrowing can mean that the amount to be repaid is greater than the income of the borrower. Sometimes it happens, like you studied in the case of Swapna. She has to sell a part of her land to repay the loan. For these reasons, banks and cooperative societies need to lend more. So it is required for banks and cooperatives for formal sectors to provide loans to those who are in need. Cheap and affordable credit is crucial for the country's development. Very important. For country's development, it is important. What is important? Cheap and affordable credit. Formal and informal credit. Who gets what? Let's see the graph. Second graph we have, of all the loans taken by urban households, what percentage was formal and what percentage was informal? In last graph we have seen rural area, now in urban area. In urban area, poor households, if I show you, purple, percent of loans from the formal sector. This one, this one is formal, and this one is formal, and this one is informal. Blue is informal while purple is formal. So in urban areas, poor household get 85% from informal sector. That means high rate of interest. While formal sector only 15% because they demand collateral. In informal sector, no collateral is required. Households with few assets, those who have some assets, those who have some collateral, 53% and 47%, 47% from formal sector while 53% from informal sector. In the same way, well off households, those who have money, enough money, facilities and collateral, well off households, 72% from formal and 28% from informal sector. What is formal sector? Banks and cooperatives. In rich households, 90% because they have collateral required from them, collateral required by the bank. So 90% get loan from bank or cooperatives in rich households. Only 10% take loans from informal sources of credit. Now, what does all this suggest? First, the formal sector still meets only a small portion of total credit, about half of the total credit needs of the rural people. The remaining credit needs are met from informal sources. So, these two situations of rural as well as urban areas suggest us that still today most of the people are not getting formal sources of credit because of their inability to produce collateral. Most loans from informal lenders carry a very high interest rate and do little to increase the income of the borrowers. Thus, it is necessary that banks and cooperatives increase their lending, particularly in the rural areas where there is a demand, so that the dependence on informal sources of credit reduces. Secondly, while formal sector loans need to expand, it is also necessary that everyone receives these loans. It must be visible to everyone. It must be under the reach of each and everyone. It is important that the formal sources of credit is distributed more equally so that the poor can benefit from the cheaper loans. As you can see here, there is a worker. Do you think a bank will give me a loan? Surely no, because this man has no collateral. Now, the last topic in this lesson, self help groups, SHGs. Banks are not present everywhere in rural India. Even when they are present, getting a loan from a bank is much more difficult than taking a loan from informal sources. As we have discussed, they ask collateral, and most of the people do not have collateral. Absence of collateral is one of the major reasons which prevents the poor from getting bank loans. Informal lenders, such as money lenders, on the other hand, know the borrower personally and hence are often willing to give a loan without collateral. They give loan without any question because they know the borrower very well. So they do not ask any collateral. However, the money lenders charge very high rates of interest, keep no records of the transactions, and harass the poor borrowers. The idea is to organize rural poor, in particular women. What are these SHGs? Self help groups. Especially women gathered themselves, collected themselves in form of self help groups into small self help groups, SHGs, and pool, collect themselves their savings. A typical SHG has 15 to 20 members as women, usually belonging to one neighborhood, who meet and save regularly. Saving per member varies from rupees 25 to rupees 100, maybe 1000. Members can take small loans from the group itself to meet their needs. The group charges interest on these loans, but this is still less than what the money lender charges. After a year or two, if the group is regular in saving, it becomes eligible for availing loan from the bank. If I give you a simple example, there are 20 members and they are regularly saving rupees 100 per month. That ultimately comes to 1000. If out of those 20 members there is a person, there is a woman who requires loan of rupees 2000, she can easily get it, but she has to give a small proportion as loan interest, a very low interest rate, usually less than those of money lender, so they can easily complete their task. And if it is regular, that money is deposited in bank, so bank allows them to take further loans. Any case of non-repayment of loan by any other member is followed up seriously by other members in the group. Because of this feature, banks are willing to lend to the poor women when organized in SHGs. So banks easily provide them loans, even they don't have any collateral. Thus, the SHGs help borrowers overcome the problem of lack of collateral, even though they don't have collateral, but they easily get loans. Why? Because of their group, self help group. They can get timely loans for a variety of purposes and at reasonable interest rate. Moreover, SHGs are the building blocks of organization of rural poor. Not only does it help women to become financially self reliant, they are self dependent. The regular meetings of the group provide a platform to discuss and act on a variety of social issues such as health, nutrition, domestic violence. While in their meeting, they can discuss some affairs like health, nutrition, domestic violence. So it helps. As you can see in the picture, this is a meeting of self help group. Most of the important decisions regarding the savings and loan activities are taken by the group members. So, all the decisions regarding loan amount, regarding rate of interest, are taken by the group members with the consent of each and everyone. Now, we have another example of Grameen Bank of Bangladesh. Grameen Bank of Bangladesh is one of the biggest success stories in reaching the poor to meet their credit needs as reasonable rates. It started in the year 1970s as a small project. Grameen Bank in 2018 had over 9 million members in about 81,600 villages spread across Bangladesh. Almost all of the borrowers are women and belong to poorest sections of the society. These borrowers have proved that not only are poor women reliable borrowers, but that they can start and run a variety of small income generating activities successfully. Who started it? Professor Muhammad Yunus, the founder of Grameen Bank, and he got Nobel Prize in the year 2006 for peace. So what are his words? What did he say? If credit can be made available to the poor people on terms and conditions that are appropriate and reasonable, these millions of small people with their millions of small pursuits can add up to create the biggest development wonder. Now, what we studied in this chapter, let's sum it up. Summing up, in this chapter, we have looked at the modern forms of money and how they are linked with the banking system. First of all, we studied modern forms of money, especially paper notes and coins, checks. On one side are the depositors who keep their money in the banks, and on the other side are the borrowers who take loans from these banks. Economic activities require loans or credit. Credit, as we saw, can have a positive impact or in certain situations make the borrower worse off. It can help positively as well as in negative way. Credit is available from a variety of sources. These can be either formal sources or informal sources of credit. Terms of credit vary substantially between formal and informal lenders. So, what are the terms of credit for formal lenders and informal lenders? There is a big gap. It is the richer households who receive credit from at present. It is the richer households who receive credit from formal sources, whereas the poor have to depend on the informal sources. So we have studied it using graph. It is essential that the total formal sector credit increases so that the dependence on the more expensive informal credit becomes less. You know very well. You can easily get formal sources of credit at the rate of interest 8 to 12. If you remember, Megha took a house loan of rupees 5 lakh and rate of interest was only 8.5% and tenure was 10 years. So in the same way, if that loan is taken from a money lender 60% per annum, what a big gap. Also, the poor should get a much greater share of formal loans from banks, cooperative societies, etc. Both these steps are important for development. So that's all in this video. Thanks for watching.